All right, welcome everybody to Bases and Brews episode 34 with Ben and Brandon. This is our weekly podcast where we talk about baseball and beer. We stream the show live on twitch.tv/Bases and Brews every Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Come give us a follow, watch us live over there. If you can't catch us live, we do our post show live, but you can also go check us out on YouTube or listen on podcast services as an audio podcast um, and catch up with us there. Just search for the channel Bases and Brews. Also, go follow us over on Twitter at Bases Brews to get some baseball news, some updates about us and the podcast. And yeah, how are you doing this week?
Good. I'm tired, but I'm good.
Same.
It was a good week. It was a good week. A lot of good things
Yeah,
happening. I mean, the best
agree.
thing of all happened. Houston lost the World Series. So,
I don't disagree with anything you just said.
so it was a good week. How about yourself?
Same. Busy, but pretty good.
Yeah, I
Just
didn't.
been
What was that?
just been working a lot, but
Uh, that's
yeah.
fair. I didn't have my
That's
coworker this week, so it was pretty chill at work.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you actually got to get stuff done, and
Yeah, I'm kind of tired, but it was a good week.
right, tired but efficient.
Yeah. Although, like, the first half of the week felt like it was going real, like, smooth, real slow. Like, I didn't feel like anything was getting done. And then by the end of the week, I looked back at everything that got done. And I was like, okay, it was a pretty good week. It wasn't so bad.
Yeah, that's always good. We've been, for whatever reason, like nobody is picking stuff up at our work, but we're getting in like 5 to 6 trucks a day.
Damn.
We literally like half of our parking lot is full of boxes. It's bad.
Oh, that sucks.
Like it's really bad. I'll have to send you the video. I took a video today and it's like about 15 rows of boxes or 15 like deep
Hmm.
and like 6 or 7 boxes wide. So it's like it's
That's pretty
it's
crazy.
ridiculous.
That's pretty nuts.
But and that's just like what we can't fit in the inventory space we actually have.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah. But luckily it's not raining here this week.
Okay, that's not so
But
bad then.
but yeah. So what do you got on tap tonight?
So I am cleaning out what little bit I got left in my fridge. And let's get it to focus. Got some Heller High Mango. 21st Amendment Brewery. Like, I think I had this 2 weeks ago, and opinion's still the same after drinking a few more of them. Like, it's okay. It's not as good as the Heller High Watermelon,
Yeah.
but it's okay.
I think from the Heller High Watermelon is known as like their top tier beer.
That would be fair.
Because like I know about that one from the other side of the country.
Uh, that is completely fair.
Um, yeah, I am drinking the same thing I drank last week. Independence Brewing Company Power and Light Session IPA.
Dude, I love
Uh,
the classicness of that can.
it's very clean, very simple, but it's good.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Mostly, I was telling Fire that I forgot it was Friday, so I um, about 7:30 uh, I realized it was Friday and I was at the dog park with my dog, so I had to run home.
Eh, it happens. Uh, so we're gonna start off by talking about some football stuff that's happened this week. I know we are going to get into the recap of the World Series, but I wanna. There's a couple things that have been burning
Yeah,
football wise this week that are huge, huge
yeah,
news. We'll start off with the craziest one, and that's Henry Ruggs III got a DUI, killed a young woman and her dog, and somehow didn't, it seemed like, really hurt himself or the girl that was in his car. But he was apparently
Yeah,
going like 156 in the residential area.
yeah. Did you see the the picture of the car?
No, I haven't.
So he was driving a one of those new Corvettes.
Oh,
Um,
we had one of the C8s. Yeah,
yeah,
I
and
did hear that.
the thing was like crumpled. Like you could barely tell it was a car. Like I don't know how they walked out of
I
that
do.
accident.
I do have to say though, after hearing about that accident, it makes me even more wanting to go get a Corvette because fuck, if you can get into a wreck going 160 miles an hour and walk away from it,
Dude, okay.
that's
Personal
insane.
personal opinion here, but the new Corvettes are sick as hell.
Oh, I love them. I liked them
They look
already,
like
but
Ferraris.
yeah,
I love it.
I love those.
Totally unrelated to this super sad topic we're talking about, but yeah, I love him. But yeah, it's absolutely insane that he walked away from that crash, and that's super unacceptable. Like you
But
can't. You're worth millions of dollars, and you're on a team that will, if you call, they will do whatever you need them to do. They will come pick you up. They will drive your car home with you.
so the
Like,
the big problem with because the NFL apparently has like a one number they call.
yeah,
Like the NFL doesn't even have. It was a DUI that he got in. He was confirmed. I think he blew a
he was
1.161 or something like that.
yeah,
162.
yeah, just over double the legal limit. I think it was 161. But yeah, it's yeah,
Yeah, it was crazy. The Raiders dropped him that night. I think it was.
yeah.
He's
It was either
facing.
that night or the next day. But
Yeah,
yeah,
he's facing a whole bunch of charges. He broke his hip, so I guess he didn't really walk away. If I remember right, he broke his hip. So I mean, he's for sure done in football.
yeah. I mean, okay, hang on. I'll say this though, because this happened, I don't know, about 10 years ago with Dante Stallworth. Pretty much the exact same thing. He wasn't driving 160, but he had a DUI. He killed somebody in a crash while he was drunk, and he was in jail for like 2 years, I want to say. And then he came back and um, played for another like 3 years or something.
Mm.
So it's not impossible. And Henry Ruggs is only like 24 or something. Like he's super young.
But you also have to remember the time when that happened.
That's fair.
Like
You're
the
not wrong.
the way that would be looked upon from a public view now is
Yeah,
way different than even like 3 to 5 years ago.
that's fair. But also, you still have people who get like domestic abuse charges and then get signed like the next year and are playing. So
Okay, I think this is the craziest thing of this all is like if I'm wondering how this situation would have played if he hadn't killed the girl that he hit because she was in a forerunner. Apparently, the car after he hit her was like, yes. So what happened was he was apparently driving in a residential area over 150 miles an hour and hit the back end of I think they said it was a Rav4, and it
I
basically
didn't.
just threw the car or threw the
Yeah,
Rav4, and it caught
yeah, because
fire and she got trapped and
yeah, yeah, because his car was so low, it went right under it, just like flipped it over.
yeah, it's crazy. I
But
think the car got thrown like 200 feet, which is insane to think of a stopped car getting thrown that far by just getting hit.
yeah, it's nuts.
But it's crazy. I don't know if I see him playing again, but you may be right. Maybe he comes back and maybe that becomes a thing. But I just think publicly, I don't know many franchises that are going to want to take that on.
Yeah, no, I agree. It depends how long he's in jail, what all happens, what his statement is. Um, I mean, I know it doesn't make it any better, but like, apparently he was like sitting on the curb, like crying at the crime scene. Like he felt bad about it, but I mean, that doesn't make it any better.
I mean,
Like
he
he
should have
fucked
felt
up.
bad. He killed somebody.
Well, right, of course, but like, there's people who do stupid shit like that and then don't feel anything. Like, don't show remorse.
I mean, you're right, but I mean, I think, normal, sane person would feel remorse,
Right,
whether
I
you
agree with
intended
that.
to do it or
Right.
not.
But I mean, I think the fact showing remorse publicly, like, I guess maybe that's not public, but like, if he comes out and makes a statement and all this, like, I don't know what he has to do, but I think there's things he could do and things he could say, um, that would make it better. Not better in the terms of what he did, but
But
better in the
in the
terms of
public eye,
like the possibility of him coming back.
that's very possible. That's very possible. But yeah, that sucks for him and the young woman he killed, because I think she was young too. I think she was 24.
Yes.
She
I don't
was,
remember the exact age,
but
but
it was like right around that age. I don't remember exactly either. But yeah, no, it's crazy. I wanted to get that one out of the way because that one's kind of heavy,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
it sucks to see a young, promising career basically get just torched in a matter of one night
Yeah.
drinking.
It's one of those things where it's like if if you think you're drunk, even if you're like, I might be okay, like you should probably get somebody to drive you.
Well, yeah, because apparently the NFL has just like one number that anybody in the NFL can call and get a ride at any time for any reason, whatever. It's just one number they
Yeah.
call. They don't
Yep.
even need Uber. They just call this
It's not
number
even
and
a
they pick them
ride.
up.
It's not even a ride. Like they'll do anything. Like they'll whatever you need done, you call that number and they'll do it.
From what I understand, though, the reason a lot of players don't do it is because whenever they call that number, it gets back to the team.
Well, right, it goes into the NFL record that you called this number. But like also if you're an adult and you go get drunk on like a day off and you don't miss practice, like I don't see what the big
Yeah,
deal
but what
is.
if you're 2 steps slow? You're there and you're trying, but you're just a step or two slow, and now you're not practicing at 100% because you're
Yeah.
hungover, and they know why you're hungover and why you're a step slow. I don't know.
Um,
It just seems, I don't think it's a good excuse, but that's one that I've seen kind of tossed around.
yeah. I mean, but at the same time, like what's the worst that happened? The coach makes you run some more sprints or something. Like I don't
Well,
I
you
mean,
lose
I know
playing
that they
time.
don't.
You lose playing time. You lose money. You lose money. I mean, there's a lot
I
of
mean, if you don't
potential
miss
down
the
the road.
game, if you don't miss the game, you don't lose money, even if you don't play as many snaps.
I guess that's kind of true with the way the deals are set.
Yeah, like I don't know. If you're good, I feel like you're not gonna miss snaps because you were drunk the night before and maybe didn't look 100% in practice.
Yeah, I don't
Like
know.
it's not, and it's better than this.
Yeah,
Like
it's 1,000,000,000 times better than this outcome. 100%.
or don't have it go on record and fucking call Uber. You're worth tens of millions of dollars. You can afford $100 Uber ride home.
Okay, let's be real. Even like the lowest
Yeah,
salary guys are
are
making
making like,
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
yeah, exactly.
So, like, you're telling me you can't
I
afford
was
$60 or
yeah, yeah. I was specifically talking
yeah,
about Henry Ruggs there
yeah. That's
because he was a first round receiver. So
but that's tragic. Two
yeah,
lives ruined in a matter of one bad decision
yeah,
that 100% could have been prevented.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely one of those things where it's like just call someone. But whatever. All right, moving on from that. You wanted to talk about Aaron Rodgers.
So anybody who doesn't know about this has been big news for the last like 2 days. Apparently Aaron Rodgers is unvaccinated. and he's missing the
Yeah.
game this week because he got COVID. And the reason I think it's big news is because he never said he was vaccinated, but he said he was immunized,
Yeah.
insinuating
I don't know.
that he was vaccinated.
Well, hold on. I don't know how much about this you read.
I've read a little bit, not a ton.
Okay. So here's what happened. He got some weird bullshit conspiracy theory vaccine.
Oh, so I read a little bit about that, and he took it to the league.
Yeah. So he went to the league and he goes, "Hey, I took this, so I'm vaccinated." And the league is like, "No, you're not." And he's like, "No, it's the same thing." And they're like, "No, you're an idiot. It's not the same thing." And he basically put an appeal into the league to consider him vaccinated in the eyes of the league and the team. And the league said no. But then he kind of insinuated to people that he was vaccinated.
Yeah. And I don't know. To me, do whatever you want to do, but it's a big deal because if they ended up more people got sick.
Right. Which they still might, because he's only tested positive like 2 days ago. So
if that happens, they could potentially have to just straight up forfeit a game.
Yeah, right. Because the league did come out at the beginning of the year and said we're not rescheduling games this year.
Yeah.
Unless you get really lucky and your team's bye weeks match up, then we'll reschedule it. But
so that to me is where I think it's a little weird. It's like he comes out and kind of goes, yeah, I'm immunized, and he's not. And I think that's why it's a big deal. Because
yeah, the other funny thing that makes this a bigger deal in the eyes of the league is the league was marketing this as like the game of the week. Like, this is one of the best games of the year. It was Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes, and it's like, and now that's gone, and the league's like, what the fuck, guys?
Yeah. Well, the other thing that's a part of this story is the fact that he's been holding in-person press conferences all season, which is 100% against league policy for unvaccinated players.
Right.
So I'm curious to see what the fines or punishment that's going to be levied against Green Bay, because they can't do anything. Well, Green Bay as an organization can't afford to do anything to Aaron Rodgers.
I don't think it matters, honestly, because I think no matter what they do, Aaron Rodgers is gone after this year anyway. But
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me, but just to be safe, they can't afford to put any blame on Aaron Rodgers. So they're going to have to assume all blame. And I wonder how hard the league is going to come down on them for knowing it and letting it happen.
Unless it's not up to the team and the league just goes after him in the just him. It doesn't have anything to do with the team. The league just goes after him.
Ooh, I don't know if they can, though, because I believe the NFL has come out and said that they obviously can't monitor everybody. So it's on the team to monitor their players who's vaccinated and not. So I would assume that with that wording, they're going to levy whatever punishment against the Green Bay Packers.
But yeah, Mike's right. They should have gotten rid of him.
They should have.
Now they're going to get nothing.
They should have. I'm 100% with that. They should have.
How much of that is because he would have been there?
Would have been where?
San Francisco.
No, he wouldn't have.
They offered
I don't think so.
Garoppolo and like 2 first-round draft picks before they drafted Trey Lance.
No, they offered like 3rd round or 2nd round draft picks, which is why it never happened.
Yeah, I remember they wanted like 4 first-round draft picks, and it's like, you're not kidding.
The Niners were already saying that they were willing to give up their starter and a couple picks, and they were like 2nd rounders. They were like middle 2nd rounders.
Oh, okay.
And they were like, no, we're not going to give up that much.
Somebody else was interested. Like offered a pick or offered a trade, but
I think it was the Rams. Because he wanted to come to California.
Yep. You're right. Yeah, it was the Rams, and then they got Stafford before the Packers even like responded. They were taking too long, and the Rams were like, screw you guys.
I mean, can we just be honest? The Rams had the come up of the offseason, at least from what it looks like so far.
Yeah, but imagine if they got Aaron Rodgers.
That team would be scary.
Yeah,
I mean, they're already kind of scary right now, but like that,
Stafford's playing really good, but he's not Aaron Rodgers.
no. But I don't know. It's just something that's huge news right now, and how do you feel about it, just in general? Do you even care?
Really, I mean, he's an idiot, but I feel like a lot of people kind of knew Aaron Rodgers was kind of dumb, so
Well, see, I don't
he
know if
was
I
acting really dumb.
I don't know if I go with that. Personally, I don't care. These guys make way more money than me. If you want to put yourself in whatever position you want to put yourself in, go ahead. You know what could happen one way or the other. I don't really care.
Yeah.
I know I personally am vaccinated, so what other
I'm,
people do to me doesn't really matter.
I'm more in the boat of like, what the issue I have is that he told people he was, and
That's the only problem I have with it.
like, and then people would relax around him or whatever, and then it's like, well, no, you weren't.
That's
Then you're endangering other people, and it's not about you.
that's fair. I think it's a pretty selfish move overall, but in the long run, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
really
it
doesn't
probably
matter.
won't.
It's not like
I
he's
think
playing better. It's something that's affecting his overall performance.
I seem to remember something too that the Packers were like 95% vaccinated or something. So it's like most of that team's good, but
Yeah, at that rate, then I would even less care, to be completely honest.
yeah, for me it's all about the fact that he was telling people he was when he definitely wasn't. But
That's a very fair criticism because for me, I don't care, but I do understand the fact of you're lying and putting
right,
the handful or whatever couple dozen people that may not be vaccinated at risk.
right, but
But now onto the juicy one. This just happened like today. I don't even know if the paperwork is even done yet.
well, hold on. It just happened today, but also not really.
Well, it happened like what 2 days ago.
It happened
It was like Tuesday
on
when his dad put out the video.
yeah, right, yes. Yeah. So Odell Beckham of my Browns, but his dad put out some video calling out Baker Mayfield saying he's trash. And then Baker, to be fair, Baker had a whole okay, oh no, sorry. First, Wednesday, Odell showed up to practice, good to go, and the Browns were like, "You should go home." Like basically, we're like, "Don't come in, like just go home." And that was weird. And then Baker had a press conference about the whole thing and was really professional. To be fair to him, like I more professional than I expect Baker to be because he's got that like attitude about him.
So I didn't know he did a press conference, so I didn't hear
He
that.
did.
I'll have to watch that back a little bit.
It was a really good press conference. They asked him a lot of questions about it, and he didn't like shy away from the questions, but he also was very professional about it.
Okay.
Um, so that happened, and then it came out that the Browns were talking about releasing him because the trade deadline ended already. And then today it came out that the Browns were done. Which, all right. So as a Browns fan, I'm kind of good with it because one, Odell is not what he was his first couple years in the league. He's hurt all the time. He's literally right now. He has two shoulders that both need surgery. Literally, he's like playing through double shoulder injuries, and he missed almost all of last year, or he did something to his knee, and then he missed the year before that with his back. So, no, he was let go because he wasn't performing great, and him and Baker Mayfield were not really getting along.
Yeah, When you
the
don't
Browns,
like your quarterback, it's pretty hard to
yeah,
have a good relationship.
yeah. But the Browns offense, like I've watched them since he got there and before he got there, the Browns offense runs smoother when Odell is not on the field.
Do you think
Because
Baker Mayfield tries to force the ball to him?
yes, I think that's exactly what happens. Because he's a big personality and he's one of those kinds of guys who like he says the right things, but then when you see him on the sideline, he's always yelling at teammates and
Except
stuff.
for he doesn't. I put Odell Beckham Jr. in the same category as Antonio Brown.
I
I
don't
I
know if
would
he's
say he's
that
not
bad, but
quite
yeah,
as outspoken on media, but as a
that's
player
what I
and
meant.
in the
Yeah,
locker room and everything, I see him as the exact same player.
yeah, that's what I meant. Is to the media in all his press conferences, he always said the right thing. So I give him credit for that. But on the sidelines, he's yelling at his teammates. He's like throwing tantrums. He like came out of the game last year because he didn't get the ball for like 5 plays in a row. So he just like took himself out of the game and just went and sat on the bench. And I'm like, you're getting paid millions of dollars. Like, grow up.
Yeah.
but
So I'm
yeah,
surprised you're okay with it because I thought you'd be a little
no.
more
I
like, eh.
when Odell got hurt last year, our offense like doubled in its efficiency. Like it wasn't even close to being the same.
I'm gonna laugh
Like
if you guys start playing like you guys were last year all of a sudden.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That'd be so awesome. It'd be funny.
Because yeah, I really do think it's exactly what you said that he forces the ball to Odell
Instead
and
of just hitting the open man.
right. Whereas like Jarvis Landry, who is also like I was telling you before we started, number wise, Jarvis Landry has been way better than Odell. Um, and like he doesn't really care about his numbers. Like he's just if I'm open, hit me. If not, throw it to the open guy. Like much more of a team guy. But
Yeah, I just thought it was funny. They're talking about him getting picked up by the Niners, and I'm like, I don't know if I
I
want
don't
that
know if that
cancer.
fits.
I don't know. It does. We need a everyone still considers him a number one receiver, and Kyle
Yeah,
Shanahan loves him. So
yeah.
they're talking about him,
I
but he would have to get through 11 other teams on the waiver
yeah.
wire to hit us. I don't know if
Now
that's gonna happen.
a lot of those teams are not good and
That's
aren't
true.
gonna want to waste money on Odell, and they lose a draft pick. I'm pretty sure if they pick him up off waivers. I think that's how the NFL works. Is if you take a guy off waivers, the team who released him gets a pick.
I've tried for years to understand, and I never get it. And for all the sports, that's not just football. Baseball,
Yeah.
sometimes that shit gets fucking weird. Hockey, I don't even understand how hockey works with the player movement.
To be fair, I don't. I've never had a hockey team local, so I've never paid attention to anything in hockey. I barely know the rules. I like watching hockey,
I
but
know very little.
I don't know much about the sport. But
So that's just kind of a overall thing, but
yeah,
I
but
don't
yeah,
want him.
no, I could see him going somewhere more structured, like Seattle or L.A.
There's
Rams
talks of
or
potential Tampa Bay. Could you imagine Tom Brady?
you don't need him though.
But just imagine
He's going to be their like fifth receiver.
he would have Gronkowski, uh, um, uh, oh God, what's his name? He was there before everybody.
Mike Wallace,
Mike Evans, isn't it?
or
Evans.
Evans. Mike Wallace is
Antonio Brown and OBJ. Those
and
four.
Chris Godwin.
Oh yeah, and
who is
Godwin,
their number 2 receiver over Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown's their third guy.
which like that receiving core would have to be like legendary in potential.
They have another young receiver who's been having a good year this year, but I can't remember his name. But yeah, no, that would be disgusting.
Like they clearly don't need him, and I don't think they'll end up with him. But like just thinking about that for a second, I'm like,
they're last on the waiver wire. So
I'm just thinking like, God, could you imagine on one side of the field you got OBJ and on and on the other side you have Antonio Brown,
yeah,
and then somewhere in between you have Mike Evans.
I think OBJ would be the slot receiver in that
You
offense
think? Well, he probably would.
because he's smaller and he's quicker. Mike Evans is like 6'6" or something.
You're right. You're right.
Odell's only like 6 foot, I think.
That's kind of short. I didn't
Like
know he was that small.
yeah, he's not a big receiver. He's just he can jump out of the freaking building, and his wingspan's huge, and he can catch anything thrown near him unless it's right at him. Then he drops it.
That's fair.
He's better at making one-handed catches than two-handed. I honestly believe that.
Well, dude, was it last week that one pass that he did get thrown? Like he didn't even try for it. Didn't look like. He's like he threw a hand up at it, but like if he actually goes up with both hands and tries to get that ball, he easily makes that catch.
With that said, Baker Mayfield last week. All right, I don't know how much you know about what's been going on with him.
No, I had very little, if any.
He has a torn labrum in his left shoulder or left like back shoulder, and he has a fractured upper arm on his left arm. So like he can't like follow through. So he had a ton of high throws last week.
Well, that throw wasn't even that high.
No, I mean it was catchable, but
Yeah.
I'm saying Odell sees that and is like, whatever, it's over.
Yeah, but that's a prima donna right there, because that was red zone, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Like
That's exactly why I'm not that upset about losing Odell.
get the fuck out of here. If you go up for that, you might score right there.
Honestly, because of what I said, like last season after he got hurt, we were so much better on offense. There were a lot of people in the offseason who were like, just cut him. Like they didn't even want to trade him. They were like, just cut him. Like he hurts this team when he's on the field.
I'm surprised they didn't. I mean, I guess if there's no issues, but how, as an organization, do you not know these issues are boiling up?
I think they did. They probably tried to trade him before the trade deadline, and
Maybe they were asking too much.
wanted to give anything for him, or give enough for him.
I don't know.
So,
That's crazy.
But yeah.
All right, enough football. Why don't we roll into some baseball, some stuff before we get into the breakdown?
Yes. All right. So you can start with this one.
We'll start with the retirement of my guy, my G, Buster Posey, hanging it up after 12 years.
One of the more surprise retirements I can remember.
He came off of he hit 303 with 18 homers, and I think it was like 60 or 70 RBIs this year.
That sounds right.
Borderline a career year for him. Like he's almost hit the totals that he hit in his MVP year. So that's why I was just literally stunned when you were like, "So Posey's done." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I went to Twitter. I was like, "What the fuck are you?"
People, you guys don't know the story, so I got an update on my phone through Bleacher Report, and it was like Buster Posey retiring. And I was like, really? Like, what? And then I sent Fire a message on Discord. I'm like, Posey's done. And he's like, wait, what?
It literally shocked me.
I'm like, yeah, I assumed you knew.
It was crazy. He announced it officially yesterday. Did a press conference. Yeah, it was an hour-long press conference. They did statements for about the first half hour, and then opened it up for questions for the second half hour. Honestly, one of the harder press conferences I've watched. Not because it was like super emotional, but it's weird.
I think, like you said when we were talking about it when it happened, I think it's one of those things where because he just kind of like out of nowhere did it, like the fans didn't really have a time to get used to the idea of it. It was just one of those like immediate things that nobody saw coming.
Yeah, literally the notices came out on Wednesday. He's announcing it tomorrow, which was yesterday on Thursday, and I was like, wait, what? And from what he said, he had known all year. He went into the year knowing it was going to be his last year, and nothing throughout the year changed his mind, is basically how he put it.
Yeah. I mean, good for him. Like, if he doesn't feel the drive to play anymore, or he just wants to spend time with his family or whatever. Like, I mean, more power to him. But yeah, it would have been good to at least tell the fans, if nothing else, like after they got eliminated. I guess that's kind of rough
Because then you
I was
lose,
gonna
and then
yeah, because then it just looks like you did it because you lost.
uh, but
I was
no.
gonna say something like on the field with a mic, but
Well,
also
but
then
you can't.
like
They're
all the
celebrating.
Giants fans are gone, the Dodgers are celebrating.
Yeah.
It's like that doesn't really work.
I started thinking about it like logically. Like once he got to the point where they were at the end of the year, he couldn't
Yeah,
say
you can't
anything
really do it.
because
Or
you're in the middle of a pennant
hold
race.
on, what if after they win the pennant, he announces it's going to be his last year, and then they dedicate the playoffs to him, and then it gives him extra motivation. To be fair, also, I don't know, maybe he did do that to the guys in the
No.
locker room. No, he
He
didn't tell
told a
them
lot
any
of the
of it.
guys like a week last week.
Oh, like after they got eliminated.
Like yeah, it was he nobody knew really cuz there was a lot of questions about who kind of knew, who didn't know, who he talked to before, who he had talked to throughout the season. Because there was one big moment between him and Madison Bumgarner. I want to say it was like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks before the end of the season, where it was the last time that Arizona was playing in San
Oh,
Francisco, and Bumgarner comes up to bat, and Buster kind of tapped him on the butt as he walked by, and Bumgarner reached down and like tapped him on like either like the shoulder or the head or something.
yeah.
It was just kind of like a cool little like moment
I
between
feel
two
like,
guys.
I mean, just because he was his catcher throughout his prime, like I feel like that's something they would do regardless of if he knew or not.
So people were like, so did he know? Like, is that why he did that? Because like that was your guys' last moment on the field together. And he was like, I'm sure he had an idea because they kind of talked a little bit, but like he didn't like tell anybody. It didn't sound like that it was happening.
Yeah, except probably the GM and his
No, I
family
don't
or
even
something.
think he told them.
That's kind of a dick move then.
Well, not really. I mean, I'm
I
sure
mean,
they had ideas, but then again, to me it seemed like even they were shocked, to be honest. Because he came off a damn near borderline career year. Who
yeah,
thinks their
it was
catcher
a
is going to just retire after almost a career year?
yeah.
I mean, maybe if the guy's
Especially,
been
I
in the league for
mean,
like
he's
20 years or something, but
right. I was gonna say, especially since he's not like super old.
no, 12 years, he's 34. Like,
With that said, catchers get beat to shit.
his big
But
reason was he wanted more time with his family from February to November, which, I mean,
yeah,
I can
yeah,
respect
you,
that
you can't
100%.
really argue with anybody who says that. It's like, yeah, all right, fine.
Yeah.
Like,
And basically, what he said was he's hurting, which makes sense. He's like, but he didn't want to get into it, but I just think he's like really hurting, like actually like
yeah,
in a good amount of pain because he's like the stuff that was fun just isn't really as fun anymore. He's like, I just don't find joy in it anymore. So
I am curious. Like, you see a lot of catchers try to switch to first base later in their careers, and I'm curious. Not curious. I guess I'm surprised that he didn't at least try that. If that is one of his reasons for retiring.
so it is, but I think the biggest reason is his family.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
took all
and
of
it's
last year off, and
yeah.
I
But he
think
had
spending that much time with his family, you just kind of go like,
that's
"Fuck, this
fair.
would be nice to do every year." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, he has like a kid with some kind of something that made him like highly susceptible to like
He
some
has
autoimmune
two
disease or
sets of
something.
twins.
I don't know.
He's got 4 kids. He's got 2 sets of twins. He's got an older set of twins that are like, I think they're like 7, 6, 7, somewhere in that range. And then
Yeah.
he's got another set of twins that him and his wife adopted. I think it was during the COVID year, just before COVID hit. And
Okay.
they're young, like babies, like maybe
Right.
one.
I maybe it was somebody else that opted out last year, but I thought it was him that one of his kids had something that would have made it dangerous for him to play.
Yeah.
Like if he got COVID and brought it home, like it would make one of them really sick or something. But it might have been a different player.
Yeah, who knows? But it's kind of it was a sad day. It's kind of hard to watch. And I was just thinking about
Yeah.
it because the wife asked, like, well, who's even still left on the Giants?
I
Because she's
mean,
not as
under
diehard of a fan.
contract.
Well, no, just in, like, she's talking about, like, who am I going to know?
Oh, right,
And she's more
Crawford.
more of a casual fan.
Right.
She knows a lot more than most people do, like most casual fans, but she's still more casual. And I'm like,
Yeah.
basically, as of right now, Crawford.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the young guys that
Well,
they had.
but the like
Um,
most people are
right.
actually
The
gonna like
long-term guys.
remember.
Yeah. Because
It's
yeah,
this
Posey's
is
gone. Hunter Pence retired.
yeah.
Um,
I don't think
Trent
Belt's coming back.
Bumgarner's gone. No,
Bumgarner's gone.
is he a free agent?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep. It wouldn't
Chris
surprise me if
Bryant,
he
free
retires
agent.
too. But then again, he had a good year and he just was hurt, so I don't know.
I don't. Is Brandon Belt that old?
Yeah, he came up I think right around the same time as Buster.
Okay.
I mean, they haven't had long careers, but yeah,
I mean, 12 years is pretty solid.
I guess that's true
Especially
for like an
winning a World
average.
Series or two in there. Too.
I think he won 2 because I don't think he was up for the first one.
Sure.
I think he came up the year after.
And plus, both of those guys have enough money to easily retire and
Well,
be
see,
very fine the rest of their lives.
that was my thing with Buster Posey. Is like the dude's a millionaire. If he wants to spend time with his family,
Yeah.
fuck it. Like if I had millions in the bank and I know that anytime I was ready to go back to work, the organization is ready to make a position for me. Because that's basically what they said in his press conference.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, I'm going to go take, 5-10 years to myself and watch my kids grow. And as the kids get older and you don't need to be there as much, maybe I come back and I do something. Maybe it's managing or coaching. Maybe it's front office
Bench coach,
stuff.
first base coach.
But like, he's
You
going to
see a
make
lot
money
of-
down the road is what I'm getting
Right.
at.
Yeah.
And he's got millions in the bank right now. So
He doesn't
spend time
need
with
to
your
make
family.
money for the rest of his life.
And his kids probably don't either. I think over the course of his career, he's made well over $100 million.
Yeah. That sounds right.
So even in California, that's still $50 or $60 million.
Right.
So I'm like, do what you got to do. It was tough to see because it's like this is the second like full changing of the guard that I've witnessed. This is the first one really as an adult, and it's kind of weird because like you had the like 90s and 2000s, like early 2000s, where you had like Barry Bonds, JT Snow, Jeff Kent, Rich Aurelia, and when they left, you had that full shifting of the guard, where like almost most of all the people you knew were gone.
Right.
And then the new guys a couple years after Bonds left, because I think Bonds retired in 06. I'm pretty sure it was 06.
Sounds right. If
Maybe
not, it was within a year.
yeah, it's right around
Like
there.
that.
And then you got to think Posey came up in 2009 for his first time. Madison Bumgarner came up in 2010. So like there was a couple years where like the team was just kind of in limbo with no one big that you just like had huge name recognition, or
Right.
that the audience really
locally.
bonded with.
Yeah.
Then you had the new guard, which came in, which was like the Posey, the Lincecum, Bumgarner, Matt Cain, these guys. And now, Pence was another one. And like now all those guys are gone. And it's like, well, fuck. It just as an adult looking at it, though, it's a weird perspective.
Yeah.
Because you're like, fuck, this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's interesting for sure.
we'll see.
Because I had the same thing when I was younger. Like the Indians were, well, mid to late 90s, the Indians were like the team to beat in the American League. And it was like Manny Ramirez, Jim Thome, Kenny Lofton, Omar Vizquel, like all these guys who are
Hall
like,
of Famers.
probably Hall of Famers, or should be, as we've talked about. And yeah, so it's when those guys started to like trickle off, it's like, man, this is weird.
Yeah.
And then the Indians brought some of those guys back when they were like at the end of their career.
Isn't that always kind of weird?
Yeah, dude, we had like Kenny Lofton came back for the second half of his final season of his like 20 years in the league or something. It had been like 7 or 8 years since he'd been in Cleveland, and they brought him back as like a trade deadline acquisition. They did the same thing with Omar Vizquel. They brought him back.
Did they really? At the end of his career?
Yeah, yeah.
Omar
Jim
Vizquel's my
Thome
boy.
came
That guy
back
was
at the
so
end
fun
of
to
his
watch.
career. Dude, he's like one of the coolest people ever, too. Like, I've never heard anyone say anything bad about Omar
We talk
Vizquel.
about Omar Vizquel a lot in this podcast because he played for both of our teams, and we both,
Right.
I think we both are in agreement that he's arguably one of the best defensive shortstops ever to play the game.
I'd argue one of the best defensive players to ever play.
Ooh, I don't know if
regardless
I'd
of
go.
position.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I would.
I don't know if I'd go quite
He was
that
doing
far.
things in the field that nobody had ever seen anybody do before.
I mean, you're not necessarily wrong. I'm just, I that's a leap I'd have to actually think about before I would make that statement.
At one of the hardest positions to play defense at.
That one might be a little bit of a hot take. I don't know. Maybe I have to go and kind of look at it. But
I mean, it's hard to compare infield and outfield, but
that's actually very true.
He's one of the best defensive infielders ever.
But Derek Jeter, bro.
Derek Jeter was not as good of a defensive player.
That was a meme, okay? Derek Jeter is actually kind of a subpar in some instances defender. His range wasn't as good.
I know you're kidding, but like Derek Jeter would tell you that he was not nearly as good as Omar Vizquel.
That's where you compare the accolades to the actual talent and skill.
Right. Now, to be fair, Jeter was a significantly better hitter than Omar Vizquel.
That's very fair. But yeah, so it was kind of sad, but it's interesting, like I said, watching the shifting of the guard.
Yeah.
Because I'm as soon as he announced his retirement, you know what the first thing that popped into my head was the scene from Waterboy where it's the dude, oh no, we suck again. Like, that's literally the first thing that's popped into my head.
That's really funny.
Because
God, I haven't watched that movie in years.
And the reason I say that is because he called such a good game from behind the plate that it's going to be impossible to replace him.
Not only was he a really good hitter, but yeah, he was a really good catcher.
Actually, kind of overrated as a hitter.
I mean, yeah, he had a few good years, but he was never like a career good hitter.
His career stat lines are 1,500 hits on the nose, 1,500 exactly, 156 home runs, and I forgot what his RBIs were off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But it's not super high. Like if he made the Hall of Fame, I think he would have the lowest overall career stats of any catcher in offensively.
Yeah. Now, I'm not sure. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think he was the best catcher at throwing out base runners.
Actually, I think his percentages are really good.
Are they?
Yeah, I think they're very, very good.
Because I knew, like, defensively as, stopping balls and actually calling the games, he was really good. Like, I never hear of him as, like, when you talk about who are the best catchers at, like, throwing guys out.
Hold on, I'm going to look up his pop time real quick.
Can I grab another beer?
Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, the pop time is the amount of time it takes for the catcher to catch the ball and then release the ball to second. Because that's not a common thing. So he was about average pop time, a little bit above average. He wasn't a sub 2 second though. So I don't know. I think his percentages were good.
I was going to say, I don't put as much stock in stuff like that. Like, yeah, it matters, but if you're still throwing guys out, does it really matter?
I mean, it's just kind of like the feather in the cap.
Yeah, no, I get it. But
career throwout percentage. Let's see. trying to see if I can find it because I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure I can find it really quick. All right, caught stealing percentage for his career, 27%.
Really, this says Posey Throwout 33%. It says his caught stealing rate was 27%, but he says it's Throwout 33%.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That was the league average
Okay, yeah.
for his career. So his caught stealing was 33. The league average was 27. So he was a little above average.
I would say that's significantly above average. 27 to 33?
Yeah.
That's like
not,
way above average.
Yeah. Now, okay. Here, let's do this then.
You'd want to compare him to somebody like
Molina. I'm looking up Yadier Molina.
See, I don't honestly. I think Posey is better than Molina in a lot of those defensive.
Yadier Molina 40% stealing.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But look at his pass ball rate. Posey's
pass balls 534 total.
It was like he didn't let a pass ball go. It was like one every like 156 pitches or something like that. 156 innings? I was hearing him talk about it this morning. It was a stat I'd never heard of, but you know who came up with it and threw it out there? Fucking B Weezy, Brian Wilson. Trying to think.
Wait. Okay. Fastballs 244, but in 7 less seasons. So the average is a little lower than Molina, but yeah, he's played a lot less.
Yeah, I think his statistically, he's just as good defensively, if not a little better than Molina in some ways. But it's so hard. There's so many intricacies that come with catching. Right. That like it's hard to say like this guy is better than that guy.
And there's no way to measure him either because like a lot of what makes a catcher good defensively is like the pitches they call in the game they call. It doesn't really show up on a stat sheet except for the pitchers.
That's very true, which is tough. So
right, and then it's like, well, is that the catcher? Is that the pitcher?
So Brian Wilson put it really good. He loved throwing to Posey because all he had to do was make the pitch.
Right.
He didn't have to think. He just had to do whatever he was told. He just had to throw whatever he was told to throw.
Yeah.
And he said that made things a lot easier. Which I could imagine if you're out there and all you have to do is throw the ball. Like you don't have to think of like, okay, how do I want to approach this guy? You literally just go, okay, he wants me to throw this. This is what we're throwing.
Well, especially, I mean, what you hear about a lot with catchers is, they watch tape with the pitcher that's going to be pitching. And they go, what do you feel comfortable attacking this guy with? And then you're right. When they're actually out there pitching, they don't have to think about that stuff because the catcher knows, and he knows what pitches work good against each guy because he does the home.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like, catchers go underrated a lot because they aren't great hitters usually, but that's because they spend so much time watching tape and figuring out what to throw each guy, and they don't do as much hitting practice.
So being that he's my guy and I listen to the radio local, they've had literally everybody and their fucking mother come on and talk about Buster Posey because he's that big here in San Francisco. Like, he's been literally what you would epitomize as the face of Giants baseball for over a decade now.
Yeah.
And one of the craziest stories I heard was everyone talked about how prepared he was and how great how much film he watched, how he knew exactly what he wanted to do. But Vogelsong told a great story about how they never talked before a game. They knew what they wanted to do. They just didn't talk. They didn't need to.
Right.
It was like their thing. He didn't want to be bothered, so Posey didn't talk to him. And I guess there was a game that Posey walked up to him about 15 minutes before game, and I guess Posey was like, "Look, I know we don't do this. We don't talk." He's like, but I've been hurting. I haven't had a chance to do the homework on these guys. I just don't know what we're doing. And apparently Vogelsong gave him like a literal 1 minute overview of exactly what he wanted to do with every single hitter. And that was all Posey needed to savant his way through the game. Like that to me is insane.
Well, I mean, that's one of those things too where like you might not know specifically each hitter, but you can still know, like, set up somebody with a slider down and away and then fastball up and in. Or,
No. The vocal song was like,
that.
I'm not good, but he's like, but that day I knew exactly what I wanted to do with every single hitter. Yeah. So apparently, no, he went like batter for batter, like,
well, no.
This is what I want to do.
Yeah, I get that, but I'm saying like, I wasn't specifically talking about that moment. I'm just saying in general, even without preparation, if you're good, like the basics of pitching. Set them up with something low and then a fastball high and then something
move the eyes
outside. Yeah,
mix the speeds, all the little general things. Yeah. So that to me was kind of crazy. Just for him to be able, and he was like, he didn't miss a single hitter. He's like, if that was me, I would have forgot after like the third person.
Right.
But yeah, so it's kind of sad. But everyone's like, how do you feel? I'm like, we got 3 championships and he gets to go spend time with his family. Who am I to bitch?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Win-win for everybody.
Yeah. All right. On to the next one. Sorry, I talked about that for a bit because that hit home for me.
All good. All right. So I just threw this in. I can't find out if this guy is related to Ichiro Suzuki, but there is a guy whose name I'm probably going to butcher, but Saya
that would
Suzuki.
Be my guess.
Saya Suzuki, who I literally spent like 5 minutes trying to figure out if he's related, and I can't find anything.
Which means
I feel like
probably
he's
isn't.
Probably not. Right. Otherwise, they would have said it. But so he is a guy from the Japanese league who is touted as like the next great Japanese player. And to be fair, most of the guys that come over here from Japan that they're that highly touted end up being really good.
It's just a matter for how long. There have been quite a few guys that have come over and like been really good, but it was only for like 3 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it also depends too, because like some guys don't come over until they're like 30, and then it's like, then you're, at the end of your career already, or like later stage of your prime at least. But this guy is 27. This for his career, which is 901 games. He's batting 315, 415 on base percentage, and a 571 slugging.
Damn.
So he's almost 1,000 OPS.
Damn.
He's what would that be? 986.
That's fucking solid.
Yeah. He has 182 homers in 901 games. So like a home run every 7.5, 8 games.
That's definitely not bad.
Last season, he hit 38 homers with a 1.075 OPS. And people compare him fielding and hitting to Ronald Acuna Jr. the Braves, who is arguably one of the best players in the National League, if not the whole league.
Although to me it's unreal that the Dodgers, that the Braves won without him this year.
Yeah.
We'll get into that a little bit more, but that to me is nuts.
Yeah. But anyway, so he's being made available for teams, which
does that mean? Okay, go ahead.
He doesn't have to get drafted.
Okay, I was gonna say, does that mean he's a draft person, or is that just he can be signed, an international signing?
Yes, any team can sign him at any point in time once he's made available by the team, and then you have to sign him to a contract, which you're going to pay him, and you have to pay the team, which is the Toyo Carp,
Okay.
where he plays in Japan. You have to pay them a bunch of money to basically release him
So you have to
without the
basically buy him
international
out of his
signing.
old contract to
Basically, yeah.
sign him. Okay.
But the team has to allow that to happen.
Well, I mean, if they're making him available, then
Right, exactly. So
that's
I
not
don't
an
know
issue. I bet you it's
exactly.
just a money thing.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Under the current MLB NPB, which is the league he's in Japan, transfer agreement, the Carp would receive a release fee equal to 20% of the first 25 million in guaranteed contract value, plus 17.5% of the next 25 million, and then 15% of any amount beyond that.
Fuck.
So they're getting paid a lot of money for a long amount of time.
Wait, and so how long do they have that control?
As long as he plays in Major League Baseball.
Ooh, I don't even know if that's worth it. Because think about it, that you gotta have to pay almost 1.5 times what you would pay like Ronald Acuna
No.
Jr.
Well, no, no, no. You're not paying. So, like, you're paying 20% for the first 25 million. So, if he only gets signed, if he gets signed to like a $25 million contract over, 6 years, that's you're paying 20% of 25 million over a 6 year gap. You're not paying it like all at once.
Well, I know, but if so does that mean does that take it out of his cut as a
No, no,
player?
no. I think the team adds that
Well, that's what
to
I mean.
their.
So if you sign him for, say, what we'll just make it easy, $100 million, or
And
does
you're
it
paying
change if it goes?
120 million. Well, okay, no, this is only out of the guaranteed contract money.
Hmm.
So it's not out of any money he makes. It's only the guaranteed money.
Well, I mean, which is most contracts, because I would assume that most guaranteed money is what they end up actually getting. I don't know.
Yeah,
To
I
me, it
don't
just
know.
seems like a premium to get an overseas player when you could find someone like an Acuna here and not pay that 20 to 15, 30% premium. You know what I mean?
I mean, maybe that's why you don't see a lot of like Japanese players here,
To me, that just seems
or at
like
least
a.
not high quality ones, because then like the the lower quality guys you're not paying guaranteed money to, so this is
Well,
irrelevant.
and teams aren't holding on to him like that because they know they're
True,
not cash cows. They're just letting them go and they're coming overseas.
right? But
Um,
this guy seems like he's the next big name, the next Shohei Otani, the next Ichiro, the next
I mean,
Daisuke Matsuzaka.
I don't know. Maybe it's worth the premium, but
I mean, if you get Shohei Otani, it's worth it.
yeah, but like I said, Shohei Otani's only been here for a year. We'll see how long that lasts.
Dude,
Is it 2 years fully? Oh, I
yeah.
guess he did come up in 20,
Well,
but
the
like
COVID year, but
I don't know
so
if I
one
really
and a
count
half
that.
years.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. But I mean, we'll see what happens with him. We'll
just
keep you guys updated with this guy cuz I'm curious
I,
now how this all
yeah,
breaks down.
I only threw it in here because it was like the number one news story, and I was glancing at it, and I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting that he's like supposed to be this good,
I
like
want to see the money
MVP
breakdown to be
caliber.
honest.
Yeah, yeah, I'd like to get a little better explanation of that, but that's not for right now.
Yeah. We'll
Um,
keep an eye on that and we'll update you guys as that
yeah,
unfolds cuz he will, if he's that highly touted, he will be signed somewhere and we will get those numbers and everything at some point.
it's funny because like I googled him because I was curious that I was trying to find out if he was really related to Suzuki, and literally every single team is connected to his name.
Well, I
There's like
mean,
a news article about every team. It's like, could Suzuki be the next outfielder for blank?
yeah,
It's like, come on, guys. Like,
I mean, people got to
he's
get them
not.
clicks.
All right. I was just about to say, like, the first one that popped up was like the Royals. And then I'm like, he's not going to the Royals. And then I'm like, well, Otani went to the Angels. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, they have Mike Trout, but like the Angels aren't good,
And they haven't been good for a while.
right? But also, like, if I was a foreign player who like didn't know everything about Major League Baseball, I would be like, I know Mike Trout. I know he's the best player in the world. Like, I would want to go play with Mike Trout.
That's a name I've heard before. I'll go play
Right.
with them.
Not to say that he didn't know baseball, but like,
Yeah.
like you don't know which teams are good necessarily, and like I don't know what teams are good in the Japanese league. Like, I don't know.
Although, have you watched like legit Japanese baseball?
Oh, it's totally
It's
different.
fun as fuck to
Yeah,
watch.
because they play with the fundamentals.
Well, that
They
and just like
slap a lot of slap hitting speed guys.
when the
There's
pitching is so
oh yeah,
different and like
dude,
it's
I love Japanese players pitching
it,
motions
it's
because
just
they're
crazy.
it's what like Johnny Cueto used and guys like that.
Tim
Clayton
Lincecum.
Kershaw has a very Japanese pitching windup.
Yeah.
I love
Although,
it. I love that stuff.
just real quick though, how crazy would it be if Clayton Kershaw retired this year and Buster Posey and Clayton Kershaw got into the Hall of Fame at the same time? You're talking about the best pitcher and arguably the best pitcher or catcher of their like generation. Ooh.
All right. First off,
And I say
I would,
arguably, just real quick, and I say arguably because I think everybody knows that I love Yadier Molina too, and I would put him up there as one of the best catchers of this generation too.
I'd put. I mean, I know like he wasn't a household name until this year, but I'd put Salvador Perez up there as well. Like he's been doing what he did this year every year. He just doesn't hit 50 home runs every year.
That's fair. But
But
defensively, I don't think he's as good, is he?
yeah,
I was going to say, I don't
he's
watch him
very
much,
good.
so
I watch him
a lot.
19 times a year. So yeah, he's very good defensively. But
Okay.
anyway, really quick, just mention this. Dusty Baker, the manager of the Astros, he was under a 1 year contract. He signed another 1 year contract to stay on as the Astros manager. Not a huge surprise, but there was rumors that he might step away. Just he's an older guy, and
Was there? I was hearing a lot of stuff about him wanting like a 2-year deal.
I think he did, but I don't. I think the team. The one thing that I read said that the team might potentially be looking at like a long term manager because Dusty Baker was supposed to be like a stopgap after the
Cheating
cheating
scandal.
scandal and
But I mean,
all
like, he
that
came
stuff.
in and did such a good job. Why would you
Well, yeah,
want
I
him
mean
to
Dusty
leave?
Baker is a great manager, but he's also
Hall of Famer.
what 75,
73, I think.
73.
I think
So
he's
like
73.
he's not going to be a long term coach. So if you can get somebody in that's a younger guy who is highly touted, like and let him grow with the players, like
The way I look at it is, do you want to win or do you want to groom someone to potentially win for the future?
well, I mean, it
I
depends
mean,
what happens with that team too, because they got several free agents as well.
I'm hoping all the shit posters and shit at heads fucking leave so I can actually root for Dusty.
Well, the
They're
main
not all
ones
gonna
will not
leave,
be
but
leaving. Correa is gone. He already said he's not going to go back.
I know. But I think Bregman and
Um,
Altuve are there for at least another year.
Bregman and Altuve are under contract for a little bit.
And those are the guys I
I
actually
think
think I hate the most. Like those
I,
two specifically.
those two and Correa are my three. So they're like the only original ones left, really.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But
Anyway,
hey, Ron Washington finally got his ring.
yep. All right. Really quick, just mentioning. So now that the season's over, the CBA, which is the contract between the league owners and the Players Association, is officially done. It is expired. So as of right now, there's no CBA, which means the league will not have games next season until they get a new one.
Yeah.
So hopefully that happens.
And we'll talk more about that maybe in a week or two. We'll
Yeah,
really get
we'll do a
into
little
that
more
and dive into
research
that.
because we don't know exactly what the big controversies are between the two, like what they're really arguing about. So we'll look into that more, and we'll I think it's on our list as like a full episode
Yeah.
topic. So
We'll probably do that in like 2 weeks or something like that. Because I think next week we
yeah,
have our full season wrap.
yeah.
And
So
then,
yeah, we're gonna be going over the awards. We're gonna be going over um, comparing our uh, predictions from the beginning of the year to what actually happened. And spoiler alert, they are not similar.
not even
Not
really
even a
close, to
little.
be honest.
Not. I can think of one I got right.
I don't think I can
I
think
think
of
we both
any.
got it.
It tells me
We
how
both
shitty.
got it. It was the AL Central. I'm pretty
Oh.
sure we both picked the White Sox. Or
Oh,
no,
no.
actually, we might have picked the
No.
Twins.
I don't think we did.
I think no, actually, you're right.
I don't think we
I
did.
Now that I'm thinking about it, we might have picked them to finish third.
Yeah. I think we were way off in our
Ah,
preseason stuff. Which is
we
why I
have to
want to
have
go
gotten
back and look
one.
at it. But let's get to the World
We have
Series
one.
breakdown.
All right, yeah.
Because I want to talk about. Do you want to talk about the Greinke thing first?
Yeah, I'll just mention it. It was just something that was really cool that surprised the hell out of me. So, Greinke is a pitcher for the Astros, and he pinch hit twice in the playoff or in the World Series because he's such a good hitter that he was better than any of the options they had on their bench.
I find that hard to believe, but I don't know.
He got hits both times he pinch hit, so he might not have the power of everyone on their bench, but he's got the average.
Although Zach Greinke is probably like one of the weirdest fucking players in MLB history.
Yeah.
He's fucking weird.
Yeah. I don't know. There's
But-
a lot of weird players. Yeah.
But he did get a few pinch hits, which is insane.
Yeah. That was it. It was really interesting um to look at just because it was so weird. Like I can't outside of Otani, I honestly don't know that I've ever seen a pitcher pinch hit.
Oh my god, I've watched it a bunch.
Well, yeah, you're in the NL.
When we had Madison Bumgarner, who is
true.
arguably one of the best hitting pitchers over the last decade.
Yeah.
He's got like 12 or 15 home runs as a pitcher,
Yeah.
which I know doesn't sound like much,
No,
but
for a pitcher,
like
it's a lot.
he was hitting like he had a stretch where he was hitting almost like 3 to 4 a year.
Yeah. Like there's a lot of pitchers who have never hit a home run and never will. Yeah. Or there's a lot of pitchers who have never gotten a hit and never will. So
Well,
to be averaging more than one a year is impressive.
Yeah. So I've saw it a lot, so that doesn't surprise me too much.
Yeah. But it is very rare.
Yeah, it is because I mean, Mad Bum was a very rare good hitting pitcher. Like you don't see that a lot.
Right.
Now, if I think you extrapolate his hitting over like a full season, like a normal
Like
person,
if he was a position
like
player.
yeah, I don't think his hitting is that good. But for the little bit that he did hit, it was good enough. But yeah, no, it was crazy. Zach Greinke went 2 for 3.
Yeah.
Had the best average on their team.
Yeah. Once as a pitcher and one twice as a pinch hitter, I believe. And both the hits were as a pinch hitter, not as the one time he actually got it back because he was playing, he did not get a hit. But yeah.
But anybody who might be sleeping under a rock, the Braves did topple the Astros 4-2. I'm trying to think. Did either? I know I think I picked the Braves in 5.
I picked them in. No, I picked the Astros in 7, I believe, originally.
Maybe
And then when you picked the Braves, you said you didn't think it would happen. You thought the Astros would win, but you couldn't pick them, so you said Braves in 6, I think.
Okay, so then I got it right. Let's go, baby.
Yes.
No matter what the reasoning is, if I'm right, I'm right. Fuck it. I'll take it.
But after last week's episode, I switched to Braves in 7. You stayed at Braves in 6.
I mean, it wasn't a bad thing to switch to the Braves after the first couple of games.
Yeah. Well, after the first couple of games, though, it was 1-1, and the Astros had just won big.
Yeah, but I feel like even at that point, the Braves were still playing better. They did get kind of
Fair.
blown out at home at the second game.
Also, after the first 2 games, they had lost their ace, so there was that too.
Which
But
was insane. That guy is a G.
that's still honestly one of my biggest stories from the entire World Series is that the dude took a line drive off the ankle, broke his ankle, and then went out and pitched another full inning and then apologized to his team for not being able to go longer. I'm like, you're a fucking maniac.
We talked about it a little bit last week, but yeah, that to me is by far the story of the playoffs. And I think I even said last week, if they end up winning, that's going to be like huge.
That's going to be a legendary like moment in history of baseball.
Oh,
man. It would have been better if it was Game 7, though. Or their clinching game.
Yeah, right.
To have it happen, but yeah. It sucks he got hurt, but it's still a cool story.
Yeah. I don't know if you noticed who was on the broadcast team for the games.
Oh, John Smoltz?
Could you imagine how cool it would be for him?
I think I told Jen, I'm actually kind of surprised they let him do the broadcast for the World Series with the Braves in it.
Why?
Usually they try to avoid players that like they have them on like the pre and post game team, but usually they try to avoid players that like played for one of the teams just because you don't want to have like any favoritism. He did a really good job.
I was gonna say he was incredible. Like he barely even like if you didn't know baseball, you'd have no idea he ever was a legend for one of the teams.
Yeah, I'm not saying that about him. I'm just saying in general, I've noticed that they try to avoid having players that played for the teams in any sport championship.
Okay.
They try to avoid having players that like spent their whole career or the majority of it because they don't want any favoritism shown in a broadcast of a championship game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's the broadcast. It's not like you have an umpire or something.
The exception to that is, but like if you're an Astros fan and you're watching it and he's like openly rooting for the Braves, it would be not fun to watch for you.
But okay, let's be real. Anybody who's a baseball fan that didn't think he was rooting for the fucking Braves is a dumbass.
Well, right, but I
need the sound effect of Red Foreman. Dumbass.
Nice. I mean, younger fans of baseball, like that aren't like diehard fans, might not know who John Smoltz was. He retired like 15 years ago.
I mean, that's fair, but at the same time, he was so big, though.
Yeah, but I would argue that off that team, like Greg Maddux is more well known than John Smoltz.
Oh well, 100%. Greg Maddux, in my opinion, is one of the best pitchers to ever play.
I mean, so is John Smoltz.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he's good, but I don't know if I'd go one of the best ever.
No, of that generation for sure.
Oh, 100% of that generation, of that like that era.
But anyway, no, I wasn't. I wasn't saying that it was bad because he was phenomenal. I hope he does every World Series with Joe Buck from now on. But no, I was just surprised. The only exception I've seen to that rule besides this is when they have like if they would have had like John Smoltz and then like Jeff Bagwell, like one guy who played for each team.
Yeah, but who wants to hear Jeff Bagwell talk?
Wait, what?
Yeah, but who wants to hear Jeff Bagwell talk?
I couldn't tell you what Jeff Bagwell sounds like. He was the first historic Astro that popped in my head. I mean, because Jeff Bagwell was like, he was arguably the most famous Astro in like the same era as John Smoltz.
You're actually probably not wrong.
He was really good. Jeff Bagwell was a really good player. Whether or not he could.
Anybody who wants to get a laugh, go look up highlights of Jeff Bagwell hitting.
Oh yeah, he's funny looking.
One
of that weird stance.
We haven't done our top 10 like hitting and pitching like
like stances and windups.
Yeah, stances and windups and stuff, because he would definitely probably be somewhere on my list as like one of the weirdest fucking batting stances ever.
Yeah. Maybe we could do that. Do weirdest ones and then our favorite ones.
I'm down with that.
Two separate lists.
We could do that down the road, because that would be a fun one, because there are some crazy fucking ones out there. But no, I thought it was just kind of cool hearing a legend of one of the like, I don't know, maybe because I didn't have a dog in the fight. My Giants were eliminated, so I didn't care. I just wanted the Astros to lose.
Yeah.
So for me, listening to someone talk about it, I was very surprised. I mean, not that I necessarily thought that he would try and make himself look good, because that just doesn't seem like John Smoltz's thing. But I'm surprised, like, he didn't mention, like, them at all. Like, his old teams and all that stuff, at least that I can remember.
Well, okay, he didn't talk about his old teams, but he did talk about him playing a lot.
Okay, maybe I wasn't paying like super close attention to like, cause I don't
2 or 3 times a game at least he would talk about like some old story from when he was playing.
Fuck, was I?
Which they were entertaining as hell. They were fun to listen to.
Maybe I just wasn't listening
like
at the right times.
The Braves or anything. It was just like a cool story from when he was in the league or something. And they were always related to like something that was happening. It wasn't like some random dude going off on a tangent, like reminiscing about his past. It was like something that happened in the game. He's like, well, yeah, this happened to me, the same exact thing, you know, and then they'd show like a highlight of it or something.
Okay.
Like, okay.
I didn't see too many of those, but maybe that just was. I was in and out of the games, to be completely honest. Like, I was watching them, but they were almost always muted, and I just didn't care. Because a lot of times you were like, oh man, that was a good start. And I'm like, oh, I haven't turned it on yet. It was like the second inning by the time third inning by the time I get the game on.
I think game 6 when they clinched, I texted you when Soler hit the home run, and that was the third or fourth inning.
Yeah, that was when I turned it on.
I haven't turned it on yet.
I literally turned it on when you said that and watched the replay of that thing going over the fucking train tracks.
Yeah, that was. I couldn't believe how short they said it was. I might get the exact number wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was like 446, which is a bomb. But like, I was thinking it was like 480.
Yeah, but you also got to think the higher up you hit it, the less far it's gonna go. And that was like, to get over the train tracks, that has to be up there. That's higher. I would argue probably higher than the Green Monster, because he literally hit it out of the stadium.
Well, it's definitely farther than the Green Monster. Higher, I'm not sure, but it's definitely like probably a solid 50, 60 feet further. The Green Monster is crazy shallow.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
Ridiculous pop up to get it.
But yeah, but I was gonna say, but isn't it like 46 feet or something like that?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Or 42 feet, I don't know, somewhere in that vicinity. It's like a 4-story building sitting out there.
Yeah, but the thing that I found most interesting about this World Series, I mean, there was a lot, but the weirdest thing is that the games in Atlanta were fun as hell to watch. The games in Houston were all bad games. Like, the games were over in like the second inning.
Really? Because game 3 and game 4, I didn't think that.
No, those were in Atlanta.
Oh, that's right, because it was Houston, Atlanta. You're right.
Back to Houston for the...
I thought it was the other way around, but then I remember that this team is the worst team to win the World Series since the Giants did it in like 2012.
Yep, they were just over 500. They were 88 wins, I believe.
They were the team that was one game under 500 at the trade deadline, traded for 4 outfielders, and then won the motherfucking World Series.
Yep. And all due respect to them, we looked at them at the trade deadline, and we were like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
There's going to be a clip of that, because I know we were both like, what the hell is this?
They were in like third. They might have been in fourth in their the AL or NL East.
I can't remember exactly. I do know they were under 500.
Philly was winning. The Mets were above them. Who else is in that division? Miami was under them.
Bro, knowing what teams are in what divisions is like my Achilles heel with every sport.
Oh yeah, the Nationals. I want to say they were like tied with the Nationals
Oh yeah,
at
because
the
we
All
were
Star
laughing
break.
because the Nationals sold everybody,
Yeah.
and the Braves were like buying people, and we're like, what the
Yes.
fuck?
Yep. They were either tied or the Braves had like a 1 game lead, but they were basically like third and fourth in that division.
Oh man,
So yeah, and
but
when
no,
they got all outfielders, and we were like, "What are you guys doing?" And then turns out they were very very smart because all those guys carried them in the playoffs. Like their moves won them the playoffs because every single one of the guys they picked up was
three.
huge.
Here, let me. Oh no, that's just the World Series.
Like, all right, look at all right, Eddie Rosario absolutely carried them through the playoffs. Jock Peterson had a really good first 2 series. He struggled in the World Series, but very good overall playoffs. Jorge Soler won the World Series MVP and had a really good other 2 series too. He just wasn't quite as good. The dude hit three. All right, that was another crazy stat I wanted to say. Jorge Soler hit 3 home runs. All 3 of them gave the Braves the lead in the World
I
Series.
know that's crazy, right?
That's nuts. He's the first player in history to do that.
He's also the second, was it Cuban player
Even
to
yeah,
ever win the MVP
I
for the
don't
World Series.
remember who they said
Oh fuck.
was the first. I'm gonna look it up.
Oh yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, he's the second player to win it. I I kind of wanted. I knew he wasn't going to win it. He wasn't even in the list because we
Pretty
were
quick.
messaging back and forth about who we thought was gonna win it. Probably halfway through that game,
Oh, that's who it was. Uh, it was actually against the Indians. Fun fact, but 1997 for them. No, they were the Florida Marlins then. Levon Hernandez,
okay.
pitcher. I think against the Indians, he like started 3 of the 7 games or something, and then came out of the bullpen in Game 7. He pitched in like 4 of the 7 games,
Damn. Um,
but
I was kind of hoping Freddie Freeman was gonna win MVP, even though he wasn't in the
yeah,
discussion. Just because, like, when I think of current Atlanta baseball, that's who I think of, which
okay.
makes me so mad because he's not leaving Atlanta now, and I really wanted the Giants to go after him because Belt's going to be gone.
I mean, he's
Oh,
gonna need a big contract.
Atlanta's going to pay him whatever he wants. He's not
They
leaving
should.
Atlanta. He's
They should pay him whatever he
I
wants.
I
Will
will
they?
I will bet you right now. I will
No, I'm
Venmo
not betting
you
them.
You don't have
No.
to pay me. I'm. This is how confident I
Okay.
am. I
All
will
right. Well,
Venmo
I
you
wouldn't.
$100 if Freddie Freeman signs with anybody other than the Braves this offseason.
Yeah. No, I don't think it will happen. I'm just saying that as of now, he is still a free agent, and that is a bad move by them because Freddie Freeman should have been signed to a long-term contract like 3 years ago.
I'm telling you, like,
Like that dude has been good since he got in the league.
oh yeah, oh dude, I saw it was a thing on I think it was Twitter, but it was like his team pictures from when he got drafted to the him like in his
Now,
world in his championship hat and everything, and
yeah,
man, when he got drafted, he looked
he's
like a
scrawny.
motherfucking kid.
Yeah,
Like I'm not talking like he
I
looked
mean
young.
he's
I'm talking
like
he looked like a
28
12-year
now.
old.
Yeah, I think he's 28 right now.
That
27.
sounds about right.
He's older than you think he is.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh yeah, he's like 25, and then I'm like, nope, he's not.
Yeah.
The baseball minor leagues always screw me up because I'm like, oh yeah, he's a rookie, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that means he's like 27.
Yeah, no.
But no, he's very good. Did you watch transitioning a little here? Did you watch any of the parade like
I did
up on the
not.
stage?
Because that happened today, right?
Yes.
I did
Yeah.
not. I haven't
I
seen
just watched
anything of the
like some of
parade.
the highlights that popped up. Um, so they like all the main players gave speeches, which is common. Everybody does that, but like the end of every player's speech, they were like, "This is gonna get me in trouble," but sign Freddie Freeman. Like every single one of them, even the guys who like aren't even gonna be on the team, they're like, "Sign this man, pay him his money." I'm like, "Yeah, that's you have to."
Well, I mean, they have to at this point. And as a player, you're not going to leave a franchise that you just won a championship with, that you were brought up in. I mean, like if you get traded to them and then you win,
Unless the money is
yeah.
significantly different.
But like if you were brought up in a organization and your whole goal was to win with that organization, you finally did, and your team is actually good, you're not gonna fucking leave. Anybody who thinks Freddie Freeman is going anywhere is high.
Yeah.
Like on some premium grade crack. If there even is such a thing.
Couldn't tell you. So also, almost all of the guys that they signed or traded for are all free agents too.
I mean, but
which is also going to be interesting.
But does it matter when you get Acuna Jr. back? Maybe you re-sign one of them, and that's all you need.
Yeah, but the one they would want back is going to be the most expensive one, which I assume would be Soler.
Did Soler have a better season though than?
I have his stats up right now.
What's Rosario? Because I would imagine they'd.
Rosario didn't have a great year. He was like 250 batting average.
Because I know that he was. People were loving him.
270. Only 14 home runs though. Oh, he must have been hurt. He only played in 55 games.
Okay, yeah, that's not.
So actually, that's really good. 14 home runs in 55 games is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like
a home run every 3.5, 4 games. But yeah, so if I were them, I would sign Soler over Rosario. Rosario's solid, but he's never been great. He's just a good role player. And I think Rosario's like 34, 33. Soler's only 29. So if you're looking like long-term contract, like him, Acuna, and Freeman with
I mean, to be honest though, when you look at the stats, Rosario's stats are pretty fucking close when you look at where was at with Atlanta.
Well, yeah, okay, that's fair. I was talking full season.
Yeah, he hit 254 with Cleveland before he went to Atlanta, and he hit 271 with Atlanta, with 7 home runs in how many games?
Oh, that's
in 33 games. Like
I'm dumb. Those were just Soler's Atlanta stats as well.
Okay.
That's why it was only 55 games.
So you're looking at...
He played 149 games
So he played almost double... Well, like because he played, 53?
Soler?
Yeah.
55.
55. So he played almost double the amount of games. Honestly, their stats are almost identical. Because he played almost double, and Rosario hit 7 home runs, which is half of what Soler hit. And he hit 271. So their stats are damn near the same in Atlanta. But granted, what did he do before he went to Atlanta? Do you have that?
Not great. 192 batting average, 13 home runs, 37 RBIs in 94 games.
Okay, so he had more home runs than Rosario did, but his batting average was way lower.
Yeah, like 60 points lower.
Yeah. Well, no, because Rosario in Cleveland hit 254 with 7 home runs.
Yeah.
So
Soler hit 192.
Oh, yeah. I thought you said 2. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so, like, I don't know. So when you look at it,
talk about taking a chance. Somebody's batting 192 and you gave stuff up to bring him in.
Well, I mean,
turned out to do that for you.
To be fair, they brought in 4 guys and we're like, okay, well, someone's going to have to pan out.
That's fair.
And so I think either one of those guys is going to be good. I think they re-sign one of the two.
And I believe Jock Peterson's under contract for another year
He
or
is
two.
not, because there talks
No?
about the Giants potentially going after him, which I think would be stupid as fuck. I do
Yeah,
not
I
like
don't
Jock
think.
Peterson. We
No,
talked
I
to
think
he was on our
he had
overrated
one
list a
good.
while ago.
Yeah, he had one good year,
Yeah.
his rookie year.
And he had a good postseason until the World Series,
Yeah,
which is arguably when you
it
want him.
matters.
So I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me though if either one of Eddie Rosario or
So there.
Soler get re-signed with Acuna, and I think they just let everybody else walk.
Well, and Acuna also is not coming back. Start the year. He already said he probably won't be back till like late May or early June at the earliest.
Okay, so maybe you try to sign like Soler or Rosario, and then maybe you have Peterson at a lower amount, because I can't imagine he's going
And
to
then
bring
have
the
him
same
come
amount.
off the bench as a platoon player or
Which is kind of how they
pinch
used him
hitter.
in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Yeah. I would imagine that's probably what you do, and then you let either Soler or Rosario walk. One of the
it
two.
honestly depends because like okay, neither of those guys were great this year, Soler and Rosario. So like, how much do you pay them?
I would imagine they'd be somewhere in the middle because they had a killer postseason, but their regular season wasn't that great. So you can't give them big money because they're just not that guy.
That's what I'm saying.
But you also can't give them nothing because they're good
Carried
enough.
you to a World
Yeah.
Series.
So like it's one of those you'd probably look at like mid money, I would imagine.
like 15 mil.
Probably
to
something. I
15
don't know
mil a
what like
year.
the league average for outfielders is right now. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Yeah, I don't know. Just a little bit of breaking news to go with something we talked about at the beginning of the episode. Henry Ruggs is facing another felony for having an unlicensed gun in his car.
Oh, okay. So I heard about that and I totally forgot to put that out there.
It just popped up on my thing on ESPN's app. Come on, man. Anyway, but yeah.
Okay, so it looks like the overall like average for like a right fielder is right around like 5 to 6 million
Okay.
a year.
Now, to put that in perspective, Jorge Soler this year reportedly made like 9.
So I would imagine you'd have to be somewhere in that 9-10 range at the very minimum if that's what he made this last year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the Braves situation is as far as small market, big market, like how much money they have to spend.
How much cap space they've got, whatever.
If you're signing Freeman, that's a big contract for sure.
Yeah, but that's
Like,
one big contract.
and Acuna.
I guess that's true. Well,
And
no, because
probably
Acuna's
a
young.
pitcher.
He's on he's still on his rookie deal, isn't he?
Probably, but I feel like they'll probably before too long offer him the Fernando Tatis treatment. I mean, I don't think he'll get what Fernando Tatis got, but
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't be surprised
when I just
if he gets.
every time I start thinking about a player making like $300 to $400 million fucking dollars, it just something inside me dies as a normal person who works a normal job and makes like 40 to 50 grand a year. I'm like, you want to break me off a little bit?
When I say Fernando Tatis deal, I'm talking more about the length.
Yeah,
and
like
the
a
money.
8 or 10 year deal for
Yeah,
a couple $100 million.
Just basically lock him up and make him a Brave for life.
Yeah, but see, I don't think middle to small market teams really do that.
Well,
it's really
that's
only
the thing
big
is I don't
market
know
teams
where-
that do that. Like big
I
market.
don't know what kind of money Atlanta has to spend.
Or you're the Dodgers and you just literally throw
Max
money at
contracts to
everybody. Yeah. I feel like that's what the
You want to
Dodgers
play for the Dodgers? All right, 200 million.
I feel like that's just what the Dodgers do. Although I'm curious to see I know this is off topic, but I'm curious to see what some of the free agents from the Dodgers are going to do this season. Like Scherzer is going to be a free agent this year. I don't think he goes back to the Dodgers.
Yeah. Yeah. Scherzer,
Um,
Kershaw,
I think there's a
uh,
couple others too that are their bigger
Kyle
names.
Seager is gone.
Oh yeah,
Uh, is Muncy?
I was thinking Muncie, but I don't think he is. I think he's still got 1 or 2 more years
Okay.
before he's due.
I'm
Which
trying to
sucks
remember.
because
Like, I
I'd
don't
love
know
to
the
see him fucking
Dodgers.
go to the American League.
Get him
I,
the hell
I
out
just
of there.
I just need to get
Go
Max
away.
or
Just
or the
go
NL like
away.
fucking East or something. Like just get the
Right.
fuck out of the NL West. That's all I would ask. Max Muncy has
Unless he
killed the
comes,
fucking
maybe if
Giants.
Brandon Belt leaves and he comes there.
I don't know if I want Max Muncy. And not that he's
You
not
would
like
want him.
like good, but I don't know. I think it's just
You would
my
want him if he got signed to the Giants. You would be pumped.
I don't think he'd be worth the money because he's a big name who
Okay, that's
will
fair.
carry the money. And I don't think he's going to be worth the money. Not that I don't think he's a great player, he's a good player. I just don't know if he's going to be worth what people are going to want or what he's going to want. It's kind of like what with Bryce Harper. I love Bryce Harper as a player and to some extent. He was on my underrated list this year. I just didn't want the Giants to spend like $300 million on fucking Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that. Which it's proving to be fair because
I mean, I don't know what
he had a really good season, but like he's not carrying the Phillies to anything.
I mean, he's not carrying anybody, but he had an MVP caliber season.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I mean,
okay.
like
This
he's
is a
worth the money. You
conversation
just
we
got to
can
put him
get
on
more
a.
into some other time. But like when the Indians were having to deal with Lindor leaving, they were like, "Yeah, we can offer Lindor $250 million, but then we're not going to be able to sign anyone else." So like, yeah, we can offer big contracts, but then who else is going to be on the team? So it's like you pay for this huge amount of money, and then it's like, yeah, but you got to cut money somewhere else. So it's like, does having that guy hurt your team in the long run? Like, maybe look at Mike Trout
Yeah, right.
and Albert Pujols when he was there, and then they literally couldn't sign anybody else on that team.
Yeah, but is it that
And
they
again,
couldn't sign anybody else, or that they just weren't willing to?
well, again, that comes down to the management and how much money they have to spend, and big market, small market, and all that stuff.
Well, is it
Now,
okay? This is going to sound really dumb, real quick, but isn't there's not a hard cap for baseball though?
no,
It's not like football. Football is the only, I think, major sport that has like a legit hard cap. Like you can't spend over like a certain amount of money.
right, correct. The NBA has a cap, but it's a soft cap. You can go over, but then you got to pay like 50% of that player's salary
Okay.
to the league or something.
Which
And if you go, that's like if you go, no, all right. So it's like if you go $1 to like 25 million over the luxury or over the cap, you have to pay like 20% of that money that you spent to the league. And then if you go over that 25 million, then you have to pay like 40%. So it's like, yeah, like basically when the perfect example, when the Warriors signed Andre Iguodala, it was like a $12 million contract, but they were already in the upper 10s.
yeah, they paid $9 million extra, I think, from that contract.
Right. It was like they literally paid almost double the amount of money to have him there.
And I know he hates
For
to be
what his
called it, but
contract-
Iggy is back, baby. And I know that basketball just got started a couple weeks ago, and we haven't gotten into that. We will eventually get into other sports because baseball can only sustain us for so long. But
Yeah.
my God,
Once we do our
the Warriors, they're looking like the 2015 Warriors. As long as everyone stays healthy, they are looking disgusting.
So I have kind of stopped watching basketball, but I do still follow the Cavs on whatever social media and on like my Bleacher Report app and stuff. The Cavs are supposed to be terrible, but they're like 5-2 or something,
Ooh.
and they've beaten like they beat the Blazers the other day. They beat the Clippers. Like they've beaten some good teams. So it's like I don't really know what's happening. I'm sure they'll come back to earth, but
Oh damn,
it's
he's not up for a new contract this year.
who's that?
Michael Brantley.
Oh no, he's got one more year, and
Yeah,
then honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he retires.
yeah, he's older, but dude, he's still just
He's so
he
good.
just gets on base, as Billy Bean would
He's
say. Does he get
so
on
good.
base?
Yes, about as good as anybody in all of baseball.
Well, I mean, dude, his batting average was 311 this year. It's fucking
Yeah,
nuts.
look at his on base percentage because he never strikes out.
Hold on, I'm gonna
It's
go look at it
probably
real
over
quick.
4
Um,
or pretty damn close to it.
on base. Where is it? Where is it? On base. 362.
Okay, not as high as I would have guessed, but still
Especially
really
with the
high.
311 batting average.
Yeah, only 50 points higher is not
I
insane.
would imagine like a 425 ish.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been crazy. Even like 390 would have been not a huge surprise. But
But
yeah, that's
362
not
really isn't that much, considering he
doesn't
hit
walk much.
311.
He just puts the ball in play.
Hold on, what's his career stats?
I'm pretty sure he's over 300 for his career, or real close to it.
It's probably real close because he in Cleveland he played 10 years at with an average of 295, but in Houston for the last 3 years he's hit 310.
Yeah. Uh, Here I can tell you his
I'm trying to find like the full
298 career batting average
just shy.
over 13 years. He is 34 years old.
That's
He
crazy.
might he might get one more contract.
It'd be a small one, 2 3
Yeah,
year
like a
max.
2. Yeah, exactly. It's all up to him.
But I mean, if you're hitting
um,
300, who wouldn't want you on their team?
I mean, you we literally just talked for 20 minutes about Buster Posey.
Uh,
He just batted 300 and then retired.
I mean, that's true.
But
But
yeah,
to be
no,
fair, Buster
he's
Posey,
just good.
before the season ever started, basically said that this is going to be my last year, and he just
Right.
wanted to
To
prove to
himself, at
himself
least.
that he could actually play at a high level. And the fact that he played at a high level was like, okay,
Yeah.
I can still do this. I'm good.
But I feel like, I mean, just having heard a bunch of interviews when he was in Cleveland, I feel like Michael Brantley is a guy who would just be like, "Yeah, I'm done." Like he's not some guy that's like gonna keep pushing it to try to make some extra money or whatever. Like I feel like when he's done, he's done. No matter what his stats were for the year or anything.
So Buster Posey makes sense to me to walk away because he's literally accomplished borderline everything you could possibly accomplish as a non-pitcher in
Yeah,
professional baseball. He has a Rookie of the Year. He has an MVP. He has batting titles. He had, I think, only one, but maybe two. He has Gold Gloves. He's got Silver Sluggers. He's got 3 World Series. Like as a player, there's nothing left for him to do. Really, but from like I can imagine from his standpoint, he just went
yeah,
out on a season where he hit 300.
yeah.
Like for him, I'm sure he's just like fuck it. Like what else do I got to prove? Like I got nothing to prove.
True.
But whereas Brantley, I don't think he has the accolades to just walk away. I mean, maybe he just doesn't care.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's not a guy that's in it for his own. Like literally, if you ever look up an interview, it's all team. Like he could care less about personal shit.
I can appreciate
But
that.
same. Yeah. No, it's really good. That was not meant as a dig. Like I
No, no,
appreciate
no.
that
I know.
about him. But yeah. No, I think when he feels like he's done, he's done. It doesn't really matter what his stats are from the previous year.
That's
Like
pretty
he's
fair.
just one of those guys who's like, yeah, I'll play till I'm done. I'll be done. No big deal. Like he's super nonchalant kind of guy. Like doesn't even really like talking to the media at all. But yeah.
All right.
So yeah, I'll say this to close it up. Going forward on our podcast, since it's going to be the off season. So next week we're going to be doing our breakdown of our predictions and award predictions. By next week, all the awards should be announced for the league, I believe.
I think we did the math. I think it was like Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's like when everything will be announced, or by then
Yeah.
everything will be.
Yeah. Or at least the main ones. So we'll do that. Then we'll talk probably some about the CBA the week after that, because that's going to be, once everything's kind of wrapped up for the season, that's going to be the big thing going forward is, are we going to have a season next year? Based on the contract negotiations for the COVID year last year, that is legitimately in question.
That's very true.
And then after that, it will be actual off season where we'll definitely cover any like trades or free agent signings, but we'll probably talk about some football, some basketball.
We'll talk football at least till February. And then
Right.
once football ends, we'll have like a month or two where nothing's going on but basketball, and I'll have to I'll have to throw the backpack on and carry the show because I know a lot more about. I don't know a lot about basketball, but I think I know a good amount more about what's going on.
That might work out. You'll know current basketball, but I'll know more about basketball as a sport. Because I used to love basketball. I watched a ton of basketball.
That's fair.
Then I just kind of like got sick of the same teams being like, when it was Cleveland and Golden State every single year, I was like, this is cool, but like, this is boring as hell.
Okay.
Like, it was cool that Cleveland was in it, but like, God, I was so sick of the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Golden State Warriors.
And on that note, we're going to end this one. The Warriors and Cavs. Yeah. Gotta love it. Thanks, everyone.
Every year.
Thanks, everyone, for watching another episode of Bases and Brews. If you want to check out any of our old episodes, we have all of our episodes up on YouTube and any podcast services you could possibly think of, except for Apple, which I still don't understand why Apple is the only one that won't verify. They hate us. We're the black sheep. But just search up Bases and Brews. You'll be able to find all of us there. And thank you, everyone, for coming out. We will catch you all next week for another episode of Bases and Brews.
Later.